On Saturday, she'd want to sleep in, and we'd have a game set out and be eating our cereal, waiting for mom to come to play a game.
Like,
So
are you talking about like
very,
these, like the game of life or Risk or like
or
Parcheesi?
cribbage or poker or yeah,
So
lots
for
of
you,
cards.
a good mom is one who teaches you how to gamble. It
That's
sounds like.
right. I
So
learned
yeah.
math by counting cribbage and yeah.
I didn't know you liked cribbage. Let me just say that.
Yeah, I do.
Let me just say that on my phone. I'm actually a cribbage addict, and I play a lot of cribbage. And if you don't believe me, there it is, right there on my phone.
No idea. I didn't know that.
My dad
I
was
have
in
a
the.
memory of an old uncle coming to visit, and from I don't know. I mean, I was young, and he pointed out that I had missed a point. And then at the end, when I won by 1 point, he threw the cards at me and said, "You wouldn't have won if I hadn't given you that point." I'm like
He was
10.
a
Just
passionate cribbage player, but you'd already learned. It sounds like
yeah,
from your phone.
I'm like 10 years old, just going, okay.
Yeah, lighten up, dude. Uh, Everybody I know that plays cribbage has some connection to somebody in like Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa area.
Oh, my family's from Minnesota. Yep,
Okay, that's where
that's
cribbage.
it.
That's like the heartland of cribbage.
My
Which
parents are from Minnesota, but they had left.
okay,
I so then I grew up in California. You know, when I think of the fruit of the spirit with our children, I think there's a gap sometimes when we think about faithfulness. And faithfulness in relationships for me and the fruit of the spirit, these things are the fruit of the spirit is not just our relationship with the Lord, right? It's our relationship with others and how we deal with the world. And sometimes I think we remove faithfulness, and we think of that as our connection to God
mhm,
and being faithful. But we're also called to be faithful in our relationships. And when we think of that, we also think of faithfulness in marriage, right? I'm going to be faithful and true to my husband. But there's also faithfulness to our children, right? And um, I just am a really strong believer. I'm going to tear up. That God gives us the children that we have, and that we're called to love them and be faithful to them, even if they aren't acting the way we think they should when they're young, or they don't act the way we think they should in high school or older, right?
yeah,
Like our
when they're not
kids are
perfect.
individual people, and we're still called to be their parents
Yeah,
and to be faithful to them as parents, no matter how they choose to live their lives. And
yeah.
it's not, yeah. So I think we forget that sometimes.
I think about God, the covenant making God, and He makes covenant with us, which is really about His faithfulness to a
Yeah.
wayward people, right? So when you're
Yeah.
talking about being faithful to your kids, even if they're not perfect, which I feel bad
Yeah.
for you that you don't have perfect kids like we do.
Sorry, I
Apparently,
have
well, maybe,
amazing kids.
yeah, amazing is a good word. Actually, we have amazing kids too. Actually,
Yeah.
uh, it's amazing that they've survived. That we haven't haven't snuffed them out. Okay, that's why you're doing the talking, not me. So,
So, but I was adopted. I was abandoned as an infant and rescued, dramatic rescue. I was found in a car, and at a few hours old, they presume, and then was placed in foster care, at a young, just a few days old. And those foster parents adopted me. So my story is a dramatic beginning, but it didn't have a ton of impact because it was over so quickly, right? Like I didn't hop from home to home. I didn't have a bad foster home experience. I wasn't in an orphanage. So,
when you've
um,
already described what your mom was like,
yeah,
your the mom that raised you, and so you
yeah,
were what a miracle that's the home that was your foster home and it became your permanent home. And
yeah, it's
that
great.
it
Mhm.
strikes me that that's not always the case, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone's story is different for sure. I think especially when I first came to the Lord, but also after for a long time, I have a hard time connecting with Jesus being fully man And even though I don't have any relationship with a church or a system that worshiped Mary, I also had a hard time with her being fully human, right? I mean, it's like I just still even like the nativity stories where she's just perfect. I don't think she had any labor pains, and um she probably didn't even make a mess when she gave birth, That's such a messy, sticky situation. I'm sure that was all cleaned up for Mary and none of that happened, you know. And I just
Sounds like you're saying Jesus was a C-section baby, is what I'm
yeah,
hearing.
exactly. Or even better, there was like a special exit for him, and it was
Yeah.
just there he was, cleaned off. And somehow we always, I just, I don't even think I imagined Mary walking, just floating everywhere she went. And Jesus, And then the wedding at Cana, just I love that passage so much because they're both so real in that passage. I mean, Alex,
Like they're
how many
human,
of
is
your
what you're saying.
how many of your kids have gotten married?
Just one so far.
Okay, so were you very involved in Joey's wedding planning and things like that?
I was not, but his mom was.